In this video, I want to talk about Rawls' theory a little bit. In particular, I want to talk about these two concepts here, and then I want to talk about a game like this one here, which is part of Rawls' theory. Okay, so first, you know, of course, that Hobbes envisioned people making a bargain in order to get out of the state of nature, or the way in which he conceived of the state of nature. And so for Rawls, he also sets up his justification for a state in terms of a bargain. But the people in Rawls' bargaining game are not in the state of nature, like they were for Hobbes. Rather, they're in this original position. And so this is the point at which nothing about the state has been determined. And so from this position, we want to establish some principles that will be used to then set up the state itself. Okay, so additionally, we have some people in this original position, and these people are behind what Rawls called the veil of ignorance. And this was just a concept that Rawls invented, and it's a very useful one, or at least a lot of people have thought that it's a very useful one for thinking about which principles we should choose when we're deciding how we want to set up a state. So very briefly, on page 249, Appia discusses what the veil of ignorance is. So we have these people in the original position, and the participants do not know their own position or anyone else's. They do not know what it will be in the society that results from the bargaining game. So people are in the original position. They're going to choose principles that are used to set up the state, and because they're behind the veil of ignorance, they don't know where they're going to end up in the state that is then created. Okay, so let's begin by looking at this. And what we have here are four different possible states. And so the idea is that you, the decision maker, will end up with or in one of these possible states. So in the society that, or in the state that is developed, you'll end up healthy and rich. So by state, I mean your personal state, your personal position rather, will be either healthy and rich, unhealthy and rich, healthy and poor, or unhealthy and poor. And you don't know which position you'll get, which of these you'll get. Additionally, so you know that you'll get one of these, let's say, and of course, if this were being done in a more sophisticated way, then there would have to be a lot more different possible positions that you could get, but we'll just consider these four right now. And in addition to the positions themselves, healthy and rich, healthy and poor, unhealthy and poor, you're also going to get a certain amount of, we're putting a certain amount of value on the satisfaction that you get out of life. And so we're measuring that in terms of utility values. And so 1 is the highest utility value, which is just shows up once right here. And so this is, let's say, the outcome where you get the most satisfaction right here. 0 is the lowest, so this is the outcome where you get the most satisfaction, or least satisfaction out of life. This is the outcome where you get the least amount of satisfaction out of life. And then it looks like everything else is in between. So this is also pretty low, this is pretty low, and then these are kind of in the middle here. Okay, so these are I haven't described what these four options are exactly, but you have to choose one of these four options, and then let's say we'll roll a four-sided dice, and you'll get one of these four positions in our state. So if you choose option 1, then the state is going to be set up such that if you end up being unhealthy and rich, you'll get this much satisfaction out of life, or this much happiness, let's say. If you choose option 4, and when we roll the dice you are healthy and poor, then you'll get this outcome here, which has a measure of 0.5 on this scale of 0 to 1. Okay, so then the question is, which of the 4 options would you choose? And so you can think about it for a moment, but I'll just say that I've asked students this a lot, and not everyone, but I would say the majority of the students choose option 1, simply because not knowing which position you're going to end up in of these 4 up here, the option 1 at least limits how badly you can do. If you end up unhealthy and poor, then you're still going to get a reasonably good measure of satisfaction out of life. And so since this has the highest minimum, so the minimum here is 0.5, the minimum here is 0.45, the minimum here is 0, and the minimum here of this option 4 is 0.1. So if you want to maximize the worst thing you can end up with, then you would choose option 1. And recall, of course, that when you do that, when you maximize the minimum payoff that you can get, you're following the maxi-min strategy. So Rawls thought that most people would decide in basically this kind of way. They would choose the option that's going to limit how badly they can do. And these 2 principles that he developed are ones that he thought could deliver something like option 1.